ready for a Bible story? Me too. Today's story is about a man named Job, a man that loved God. This is found in the book of Job, in the Old Testament, in your Bible. In a country called Uz lived a very rich man named Job. His cattle were numbered by the thousands. He had 7 sons, 3 daughters, and many servants. Not only was Job rich, but he was godly. With all his heart, he wanted to please God. He built altars of earth and stone and made offerings to God. He prayed and asked God to forgive his sins and to bless him. When Job's sons grew to manhood and had homes of their own, they loved to have great feasts. The brothers took turns giving the feast, and their 3 sisters were always invited. On the morning after the feast, Job always got up early and placed offerings on the altar for each of his children. Perhaps they had sinned in their hearts during the feast. God loved Job. He blessed him with health and happiness. He gave him many friends and great honors. But one day, Satan complained to God about Job. He said, "Job serves you just because you bless him. If he had lots of trouble, he would turn away from you." God knew Satan was wrong, but God told him to find out for himself, and Satan did. He sent Job lots of trouble. One day, while Job's children were feasting, a messenger came running to Job with bad news. The oxen were plowing and the asses were feeding beside them, but the Sabeans came and stole all the animals and killed all the servants. I'm the only one that escaped. Before that servant was through telling his story to Job, another servant brought more bad news. He said, "Lightning has killed all the sheep and the servants. I alone am escaped to tell you." Then came another servant to Job saying, "The Chaldeans have taken the camels and killed the servants. I'm the only one that got away." Before Job knew what was happening, a 4th messenger announced, "Your children were feasting and had a great time together, but a wind blew down the house and they are all dead. I only am escaped to tell you." When Job heard all this bad news, he tore his clothes and fell down on his face, but he did not turn away from God. Then Satan planned another trouble for Job. Satan thought, "I will make life so miserable for Job that he will blame God for his suffering. Then he will want to die." In those days, many people believed that troubles were always sent from God as a punishment for sin. Satan thought Job too would believe that his problems had come from God. Satan caused great ugly sores to break out all over Job's body. These sores were very painful. Everybody looked upon Job with horror. Even his wife wished he would die. Poor Job. 3 friends came to see Job. They had heard about his troubles and wanted to comfort him. For several days they sat with Job but did not say a single word to him. When they saw how much he was suffering, they believed God was punishing Job for some sin. They said, "God sent this suffering because Job was trying to hide his wrongdoings from God." Poor Job. Even his friends did not believe in him. Then God spoke to Job out of a whirlwind, and Job bowed low on the ground and worshiped God, saying, "I am angry with your 3 friends, for they have not spoken rightly of me." When Job heard this, he prayed for his friends. God knew Job was a servant of his. He sent Job many blessings. The sores went away. Every year Job grew richer until he had twice as much as before the trouble came, and God again gave him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His daughters were the most beautiful women in all that country. And so health and happiness, riches and honor came again to Job. Even to this day, Job is remembered as a man who would not let any kind of trouble or sorrow turn him away from God. That's a good story.